I begin with the introduction. On the 24th of August 25, the local government associations, ULGA stands for Uganda Local Government Association, and UAAU, which stands for the Urban Authorities Association of Uganda, presented a petition to the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament outlining 10 issues affecting the delivery of service by local governments. On the 3rd of September, the Right Honourable Speaker referred the petition to the Minister of Local Government for immediate handling and reporting back to the House. So, honourable colleagues, the statement presents our response on the 10 issues raised in the petition of the local government associations. Issue number 1, induction of local government leaders. And the local government associations petitioned the Speaker because the Ministry had not carried out induction of the councillors this term of office. Right Honourable Speaker, induction of councillors is necessary to enable them effectively execute their leadership mandate. It builds their confidence with respect to their roles and with respect to understanding operations of local governments. Induction of councillors is positively correlated to the level of services provided by council to the citizens. Unfortunately, this term of office, the Ministry was unable to conduct induction of the local government leaders due to budgetary constraints. We raised this each year in the budget, but it was considered as unfunded. We are grateful to some development partners and projects who funded training of councillors in some districts and urban councils. It's also true that some local governments were able to use their meager local revenue to carry out minimal training of councillors. As an action point, Right Honourable Speaker, the Ministry undertakes to prioritize this activity in 2026-27 financial year. Our requirement is 30 billion shillings, and this will cover induction of all councils and provide basic tools such as the Local Government Act, Council Model Rules of Procedure, a copy of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, the Fiscal Planning Act, and other documents which are required by the councillors. We undertake to do this at the beginning of the new term of office of the local government leaders. I therefore would like to call on your honourable colleagues that we move together on this. We need councillors who know their role, and therefore we need to induct them right immediately after they are sworn in. Secondly, the issue of salaries of local government political leaders. Right Honourable Speaker, the local government associations raised this issue because the local government leaders are poorly paid, and their pay has not increased for the last 20 years. We observe that appropriate facilitation and pay of duty bearers is a statutory obligation. Unfortunately, the local government political leaders across board are not so well paid, and they are not well facilitated. We commend them for their patience and selfless service and sacrifice to the country. I'd like to observe that the least paid is the chairperson LC1, who is paid only 10,000 shillings per month. It is so little that we can't pay it to everybody every month, so we aggregate it and pay it annually, 120,000. His Excellency the President has directed that the remuneration of political leaders be enhanced with effect from 2026-27. We are covering this, and on Monday this week, I presented the proposal to Cabinet. This is still being processed by Cabinet, and we shall keep the country informed of the results. Item number 3 was the issue of transport for top political leaders of local government. Right Honourable Speaker, the associations complained we've not provided vehicles for the top leaders of the local governments. This time we provided bicycles to all the LC1 and LC2s. We also provided motorcycles to the LC3 chairpersons. And we've not been able to facilitate in terms of transport to the district and city and municipal leaders. Transport facilitation is necessary for mobility of the local government leaders to enable them execute their leadership responsibilities. The Local Governments Act, Schedule 3, makes transport duty facilitation for district chairpersons, city mayors, and municipal mayors mandatory. But for the speakers, it should be monetized. Government has procured brand new vehicles, Toyota double cabin pickups, for all district chairpersons, all city mayors, and all municipal mayors. The first batch of 90 vehicles will be in the country by the end of September this month. As I speak now, we have already received 45 of these vehicles. The last batch is expected not later than November 15th, 2025. We'd like to thank His Excellency the President, the Cabinet, and Parliament, especially you, Right Honourable Speaker, for prioritizing appropriation of 35.2 billion shillings in the supplementary budget in April this year for this purpose. We are delivering, the chairpersons and mayors will get their vehicles. Number 4 was on staff recruitment. Right Honourable Speaker, the local government associations complained of inadequate staffing which was affecting service delivery. We do agree that adequate and well-trained staff is sine qua non, indispensable condition for efficient service delivery in local government. We'd like to observe, however, that there has been improvement in staffing in local government levels, including the cities, although we are not yet at 100%. Right Honourable Speaker, whereas we were at 52% in 2019, I have the evidence here showing that currently the staffing has improved to 70% generally. I can read you some of the critical posts. The district CDOs, Chief Commercial Development Officers, they are at 81% in the 135 districts. The Principal Human Resource Office Managers are also at 81%. The district education officers, when I say at this percentage, I mean it. We have 96 out of 135, which is 71%. The district health officers are also at 71%. The district engineers, this is the least staffed, are at 27%. We only have 36 out of 135. The situation is not different in the cities because in the 10 cities, in terms of city health officer, we have 80%. Out of 10, we have 8 of them. In terms of principal human resource officer, we also at 80%. In terms of the city commercial officers, because this is in charge, especially important for trade, we are at 70%. The city engineers, again, we are not doing so well. We are at 50%. And the city physical planner at 30%. I beg to lay on table the statement summary of critical posts of local governments as at August 2025.
Please, Mayor.
Right Honourable Speaker, the Ministry shall continue engaging Minister of Public Service and Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development to improve the wage bill of all local governments. Last week, the local government negotiation team, we have, in accordance with the Constitution, the conditional grants are negotiated between the local governments and the sector ministries. And that was done last week, and there was negotiation with public service. We are aiming at carrying out realistic wage analysis for these critical posts so that we have substantive officers for the most critical posts to 100%. Furthermore, I'd like to observe that Ministry of Public Service has put in place measures to expedite approval of requests by local governments to recruit and to fill the district service commissions. The Public Service Commission is expediting the requests to appoint the district service commission members. I think this should help us to result in less delays in the recruitment of staff. Issue number 5 was road equipment for cities and municipalities. The district urban community access roads are a responsibility of the local governments under decentralization. So each level has its own unique type of road for which it is responsible. Government has provided road equipment to all the districts, although some are reported to be in poor condition, and 13 of the districts got partial units. Government undertakes to procure a full set of road equipment units for all the cities and some critical equipment for municipalities next financial year. When I talk of the full set, I mean a grader, a wheel loader, a roller, a bowser, bump truck, tipper, and pickup. And we shall do that. Issue number 6 was the road fund for town councils and sub-counties. The local governments, through the associations, pointed out that we have not provided road fund for the newly created town councils. And I think this is right. But as pointed out, the local governments have been negotiating with the Minister of Works on this. And it's not good because inadequate funds for lower local governments affects the mobility of the citizens in the rural areas especially, and affects the implementation of PDM. So I'd like to confirm that Minister of Works, I've talked to my colleague, Minister of Works and Transport, is committed to provide funds through the budget for road maintenance for all town councils and sub-counties in the next financial year. This is their undertaking. I don't know whether the minister is here, he could respond to that, why not now? But that would require perhaps a supplementary budget. Issue number 7, very important as well, the issue of fiscal planning grant. Right Honourable Speaker, this comes especially from the urban authorities. Uganda is one of the countries with a high rate of urbanization. Our projection is at about 5.3% per annum. Indeed, colleagues, you know that when you leave home, you go back after a year or two, you'll find the growth centers in the rural areas have already grown into trading centers. It is important, therefore, that we plan for this urban growth so as to avoid slums and other pitfalls of poor or failure to plan. Honourable colleagues, in the last 2 financial years, government has been providing 2 billion shillings in totality for fiscal planning for all the urban councils. And we've only been able to cover 40 urban councils. I'd like to give relief to the urban authorities and to your honourable colleagues. I personally discussed this matter with His Excellency the President last Monday, not this one, the last week. And he directed that we increase this provision substantially so as to cover all cities, municipalities, and town councils. The President is interested in having modern, well-planned, and attractive cities and towns. And his instruction is to budget for shillings 2 billion for each city for fiscal planning, shillings 300 million for municipal councils, and shillings 50 million for town councils. We hope this will lead to better, livable, and attractive towns. We shall work as Minister of Local Government with the Minister in charge of Lands, Housing, Urban Development, and Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development to put in place measures to actualize the vision of His Excellency the President of a well-planned country. We call on the local governments. This kind of relief should result in better fiscal planning of our towns. So strengthen our resolves, colleagues in local government, so that we put our towns to good standards. As ministries affected, we shall strengthen our capacity for supervision and monitoring of this undertaking. Issue number 8, centralization of local government revenue. Right Honourable Speaker and Honourable colleagues, you will recall that this Parliament made a resolution that the local government own source revenue should be retained by them instead of being sent to the consolidated fund and they wait for a month or 2 or 3 and then it is sent back. The local government associations have complained against this practice We as the ministry, we are at par with Parliament and the local government associations. We totally think that local governments are able to manage their local revenues. Then they should be able to utilize it, account for it, and give the necessary services to the people. So we continue to engage the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development on this matter, so that the local governments are allowed to retain their local revenue. I've heard that it is the Public Finance Management Act which brings this about, but Right Honourable Speaker, my team has examined the Public Finance Management Act. Allow me to quote two provisions which are critical to this. Section 3 of the PFMA states, a vote, state enterprise, or a public corporation shall retain revenue collected or received where the revenue is in form of levies, licenses, fees, or fines, and the vote, state enterprise, or public corporation is authorized through appropriation, not application, through appropriation by Parliament to retain the revenue. Moreover, Section 28(1) of the PFMA, which provides that all revenue or other money raised or received for the purpose of the government shall be paid into and shall form part of the consolidated fund. Honourable colleagues, this does not apply to all votes, especially local governments, because under the interpretation clause in the PFMA, government refers to central government. So local governments are saying, Honourable Minister of Finance, whichever instrument you used, we're ready to engage with you so that we see what justification money has to be moved from Kisoro. It comes here, we look at it, and then we send it back after 2-3 months. Meantime, people are complaining of garbage. Meantime, the councillors are not yet paid. And then it has caused us a little bit of friction between the local governments because there is a sharing arrangement for local revenue. Now, when the sub-counties collect their revenue and it comes to the center, when it is moved from central government back to the districts, some districts keep quiet and they use the money. And the sub-counties down there never know that this money has come. So to us, we don't yet find any justification under decentralization by devolution to make an enterprise which has the powers under the Constitution to collect revenue, to appropriate and to move its supplementary budget. To bring the money here, you look at it, then after 3-4 months, you send it back. Maybe one time they may ask for an interest for those 2-3 months. Item number 9 was regular elections of LC1 and LC2. The local government associations petitioned you, Right Honourable Speaker, because we've been extending the term of office of the LOCs. And they're pointing out this is not good. These LOCs have a term which they agree on with the population during voting, so we should abide by it. The term of office of the administrative units, when I talk of administrative unit, I mean LC1 and LC2. They are not local government. We call them administrative units. Has been extended in line with the Local Government Council's Regulation 12D. The reason has been mainly the lack of funds to conduct the elections. In order to solve this matter once and for all, government has harmonized elections of the local councils with the general elections and elections of local governments, with the effect from next election 2026. The budget for elections of the local governments is part of the Electoral Commission general budget for the next elections. So we are saying we are no longer going to have another election mid-term of LOCs. After the elections of the President, the members of Parliament, the LOC5, the LOC3, the Electoral Commission will continue with the elections of LC1 and LC2. The first was ULGA UAAU subvention. Right Honourable Speaker, government appreciates the work done by the local governments in keeping decentralization on track through the associations. Now they have been complaining because there are budget cuts. We do, through the Minister of Local Government, give what we call a subvention to ULGA and to UAAU. The Minister has been providing shillings 300 million to cover these associations. That is 200 million to ULGA and 100 million to UAAU. However, indeed, they are right. For example, last year, this was cut to only 60 million because it is categorized as other in the budget. so it is susceptible to budget cuts. So we plan to double this amount to 600 million next financial year, and we're going to discuss it with the Minister of Finance to agree, because these associations help us a lot as government. We need them. We have also strongly advised the associations of local government to mobilize their members to pay their subscriptions on time, because the members' own support and ownership is the bedrock for survival of any association. But we're also going to change the categorization in the budget to move it from other to give it its own standalone budget line, so that it's not seen as money which is available for budget cutting. In conclusion, Right Honourable Speaker and Honourable colleagues, would like to take note of the request of the local governments through the associations to have a meeting with His Excellency the President. They made this request to you, Right Honourable Speaker. I've discussed this matter with His Excellency the President. He is the patron of ULGA. He's the key proponent and defender of devolution. And I can confirm to your honourable colleagues, His Excellency the President will meet the district chairpersons and mayors soon. We shall communicate the actual date and venue to the local governments. We're just waiting for the indication of the date and venue from the Principal Private Secretary of the President, but he's going to meet them. Much as the local governments in their opening statement decried what they called deteriorating quality of service delivered at the local government level across the country, I wish to correct this impression. The annual assessment of local governments by the Office of the Prime Minister and other bodies shows a tremendous improvement in services, which is attributed to government programs which are funded under appropriation by Parliament and are implemented by the local governments. Programs like Gov'T, USMID, PDM, Emyoga, SAGE, and others, they have made a critical improvement. You look at PDM itself, since we started, we were just, I think we're about 40% households in subsistence. As we speak now, the UBOS statistics show we have moved down 33%. And this is implemented through the local government structures. So the local governments have also stepped up collection and administration of their own revenues. Right Honourable Speaker, whereas the urban authorities in 2021-22 collected 29 billion, last financial year collected 51.3 billion. The districts generally have moved, they are now towards 300 billion. And this is because of digitization, but also more active understanding that they need their own local revenue. So for me, the situation is promising. Our task ahead is to deepen decentralization, to defend it and not to weaken it. This is because it is a key policy of government for service delivery, for wealth creation, and for mobilization of the communities. I beg to present the statement to you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Thank you, thank you. Here the local government team saying deteriorating service delivery. You look at what you've just talked about, the human resource. In most of these districts you go, classes are empty, there are no teachers. The hospitals, the hospitals don't have medics. So they are right to say that there's a deteriorating service delivery. The roads are in poor condition because they don't have equipment. Honorable Minister, what these local government people are saying is an eye-opener for us. It helps us to plan. We should not sugarcoat it and say that everything is okay because we have PDM and whichever. But for us to reach to the end user of PDM, the road should be worked on. We need the road to be worked on. How do we collect that money then if these people do not have the workers to do that? So I think these people have a point which we must handle. We must resolve it. Honourable members, you've heard. But also on the issue of the monies that are collected, we need to appreciate that when you look at Article 176 of the Constitution, that's where it talks about the local government system. However, when you look at Article 191 of the Constitution, The power to levy and appropriate taxes is on Parliament, and it gives powers to local governments to collect money, taxes, levies. However, Parliament also enacted a law, that is the Public Finance Management Act, which now controls on how that money is collected and used and how the money should come to the consolidated account. Maybe one thing that we should request is when these districts collect money and they budget for that money, the money should be sent to them to be used early enough, not sending the money at the end of the financial year and the money bounces back. Yes, members, you've had a report.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I would like to appreciate the Honourable Minister for addressing the issues that concern. But the major issues, Right Honourable Speaker, for example, on the road equipments. When we traverse all the districts in this country, the major concern of the districts are on road equipments. Most of the equipments that were supplied, many of them work for less than 1 year. They are all grounded. And many of the districts, they cannot afford to repair those equipments when they are spoiled. Right Honourable Speaker, looking at the procedures of borrowing the equipment, we have regional offices. We have one in Gulu, Barara, Bali, Soroti, but those regional offices, wherever the districts move to borrow the equipment, they don't supply them, and we discovered that many of them are giving those road equipment for hire. They are hiring those equipment, in fact, they are working money instead of helping the government offices. Right Honourable Speaker, the minister needs to be very serious.
You're saying the regional offices hire to districts?
No, regional offices, some of them hire to local contractors.
To local contractors.
Exactly. So the problem is quite huge. Right Honourable Speaker, on the payment of our local leaders, this is very serious concern, Right Honourable Speaker.
That is going to be sorted out.
Exactly.
We are going to budget for that money. Effective July, these people will be getting sufficient amounts.
Thank you. Finally, Right Honourable Speaker, on the centralization of local revenue, this is another problem. We have discovered, Right Honourable Speaker, that many of the districts, the local councils were not sitting. Because wherever the district collects local revenue, they send to the central government. And for money to go back from central government to local government is a tug of war. The accounting officers normally...
what is your suggestion? I want whoever is bringing an issue should be able to give a way forward. What is your suggestion? Now that you enacted a law on the Public Finance Management Act?
Right Honourable Speaker, our suggestion is let the local government collect local revenue and manage. Let them submit in the accountability of the money they collect.
How do you now reconcile it with the Public Finance Management Act? I want us to speak as legislators. Okay? You enacted a law. Which is section 27(3)(a) of the Public Finance Management Act. You get it, eh? Then 28(1). How do we cure that? The only way you can cure is to bring an amendment.
Exactly, yes.
You get it, eh?
Exactly.
You will not continue lamenting in this house when you know the power, you are the ones who created this, and the power to remove this is still in you.
Right Honourable Speaker,